Hey everybody, it's Rod Teets from his barbecue kitchen, and today what we're going to do is chuck roast, smoked chuck roast, and we're going to turn it into pulled beef sandwiches at the end. So to start today, what I'm going to do is the first thing, I've got this coffee rub, coffee and garlic, so I'm going to season the top of the roast with that. And then what I'm going to do is I've got this SPG rub. This is the one I like from Texas. I'm going to sprinkle that on top. Now this stuff's real strong, and if I start sneezing, I'll tell you why, but I'm going to hit it with that. And this is SPG, stands for salt, pepper, garlic. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this out to the fridge, and I'm going to let it rest in the fridge for probably 20 minutes, and then I'm going to throw it on the smoker. Okay, so I got the beef chuck roast all spiced up. Look how beautiful that looks. I've got my smoker set, and you probably can't see it because of the temperature at 225 degrees. I got the grill cleaned up. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put this on right there in the center, and we're going to let it smoke. I'm thinking it's going to take a couple of hours. Now stay tuned, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back. I'm going to put it in a pan with some beer. I'm going to inject with a little bit of beef bouillon, and then we're going to let it go back out on the smoker. And sometime later this evening, early evening, we're going to be able to pull that and make pulled beef sandwiches. Stay tuned. Okay, I'm out at the grill, and it's been 3 hours. And we're trying to get the chuck roast up to 165 degrees. And I think I'm really close, might even be a little bit over here, but right now it's at, 168, so that's perfect. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take the chuck roast, I'm gonna put it in this pan right here, and we're gonna step in the house, and I'm gonna show you some doctoring up I'm gonna do to it. Okay, so I've got the beautiful chuck roast. That's like at 168 in the house, and I'm really impressed on how that SPG and that Trader Joe rub came into it. That Trader Joe rub, if you recall, had the coffee with it, coffee garlic, and then the SPG was the salt, pepper, garlic. So now I was doing some research on the internet, and they said if you add beer to the bottom of a metal tray and you cook the roast in the beer, that this will actually help soften it up and give it a kind of a more of a bold flavor. And they recommended a light beer. So I don't know, I thought I was going to try Leinenkugel's Honey Weiss. So I'm going to pour about half of this beer in the bottom of the pan, and I'm going to let it soak in that now out on the grill. So we're going to take it back out on the grill. I'm going to raise my grill temp up to 275. Okay, so I just changed the grill temp to 275, and now I'm going to put the beef roast right here on the center. That's that chuck roast. And in a minute, I'm going to come back out and I'm going to inject it with some beef bouillon too. Okay, I've been cooking the chuck roast for about 30 minutes in the beer, and it's starting to look good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to inject it with some beef bouillon. Ooh, wow, look at that, it's squirting out of there, huh? Whoa. Get another little hit here. What that's going to do is it's going to make it even more juicy. And what I'm going to do in a minute, I'm going to wrap it up in tinfoil, and I'm going to just leave it on here until it gets up to 205. Okay, so it's been cooking on the grill, and I wrapped it in foil at 275 for about 2 hours. And if I just punch this in to check my temp, it needs to get to 205 is what we're trying to hit. Yep, it's going to be fine. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go grab a hot pad. I'm going to carry it in the house, and we're going to let it set up a little bit, and then we're going to pull it. Okay, so now I'm in the kitchen and it's time for the official unveiling of this chuck roast. And look at that, look at that. Doesn't that thing look awesome? Now, and I can smell that beer smell. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna, look at, it's so tender. I'm trying to get it into this pan here. And I'm gonna save this grease for just a sec. I'm just gonna set it over to the side for just a second so I don't spill it. I might come back and use that, but. So now I got my, did you take a peek there? Looks really, really good. I've got my handy dandy pulling tools. Oh, look how soft that is. Look how soft that is. I mean, it just pulls right apart. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull this whole thing apart. So stay tuned as I get this ready, and we're gonna make a sandwich and get to the Rod Teats moment of truth in just a minute. Okay, so here is the beautiful pulled beef, and we're gonna try it in just a second. But just to recap, I started the grill at 3 o'clock today, and I wrapped up at right about 8:30, so it was a 5.5 hour cook time. I started by rubbing the chuck roast with SPG rub, salt, pepper, garlic, and then I also rubbed it with the rub from Trader Joe's that was a coffee garlic rub. I brought the temp on the smoker up to 165, then I brought it in the house and I put it in a foil pan, and then I poured about a 1/2 to 3/4 cup of Leinenkugel's Honey Weiss beer on the bottom. Let that cook for about another 20-25 minutes, and then I injected it with beef broth. Covered the pan and let it cook up to a final temp at 210. And now this is what we have, this beautiful, beautiful beef. So what I'm gonna do now, it is now the Rod Teats famous moment of truth. I got myself a little bun here. I'm gonna put a little bit of the beef on the bun, grab this over here that I dropped off, and I'm gonna add just a little of my favorite barbecue sauce, which is my Trader Joe's Carolina Gold, kind of a mustardy barbecue sauce, one of my favorites. I'm gonna put this together, and here we go. It's very, very soft. And it's got a really nice bite to it, a smoky bite to it. I don't, they said that beer will add a little bit of a stronger taste, and I would say that's what this is. That's an exceptional sandwich. I'm just gonna try a little piece by itself here. It is so tender. I mean, it just melts in your mouth. Well, easy recipe to try, easy recipe to put together. If you want to know more about this recipe, go to Rod Teats, or you want this recipe, just email me at rodteats@gmail.com. Or again, go to my new YouTube channel at coolguybarbecue.com, and I'll put this recipe on there. And all you gotta do is click the description, and you'll get a step-by-step recipe on how to make this beautiful pulled beef sandwich, or this pulled beef meat. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you soon.